Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Profiles in Poetry podcast. Great to have you all here watching live. Got two great guests today, some of my favorite poets in the Sacramento scene right now. We got the Coldest Wynter,
Hey.
and she's a poet from Philadelphia. She's been performing and writing poetry sitting here for a long time now. I want to say I at least remember you 5-6 years, maybe more. And along with her son Lil Wynter, they're making waves out here, and they're going to continue to revolutionize the way we see the world.
Thank you.
And joining us also is Chioetry of Chioetry and Sac Poets. She recently emerged on the scene this year, and really great to have her here. She's been doing great work with her friend and co-founder Mariah Hernandez, or Raya in the Sky on Instagram. So how are you guys doing today?
Oh, I'm doing really good.
I'm super excited to be conversing with the both of you. This is amazing, and this is the first time I'm meeting it. The Coldest Wynter. That's a really cool name.
It was given to me. At first, it was just Winter, but I'm really excited to be here. Something that I like to see is poets coming together to create something outside of the open mics. So this is really nice.
Yeah, it's really great to have both of you on here again. Just anyone who's tuning in, Coldest Wynter and Chioetry. So, kind of just getting to it now. Just what are you guys most grateful for in your lives right now?
I would say, one, my son. He's going to be 9 months old, Jude. And then my support system. So that's stemming from my parents who helped to take care of him, who allow me to come out into the Sacramento poetry scene and be involved in this community, to the community that has welcomed me with such loving and open arms and receptivity. I'm definitely, so that's the most important thing in my life right now are those things.
I second that. I'm really grateful for my son. It's definitely much of he keeps me on course. It's nothing like kids. If you have any or if you're around any, they're just very honest and direct, and they make life very simple through their answers. And then I always say that I'm grateful to be here, to be existing. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
And is there can you guys share a moment when you felt alive in the present moment? It's okay if you can't, just you want it.
I'll go first. I would say that sometimes it's really hard to be in the moment because I think, especially when you're performing, you're kind of okay, how's it gonna go? What am I gonna do? How am I gonna perform the way I want to? So I was originally going to say probably my first open mic, which was back in February at Speak Out Sac. But honestly, I think in the moment that I was most present was when I was giving birth. And I know it's kind of circling back to but it's you literally can't think of anything else. And I feel like I was the most alive. It's such a spiritual experience. You're literally, you're birthing life into the world. And I think that moment, everything else falls away. And you just see the first moments of somebody's life.
So that moment for me was a little bit more surreal. I could not believe what was going on.
That too. It was all at once.
Yeah, that was I was I'm not in this room right now. But I would say for myself, what makes me feel, when's the last time you felt alive?
Yeah.
I think every time I'm ready to perform, I think a lot of people, you may not be able to tell once I get on stage, or if you were never there the first night I went to Luna's, but it's almost like a temporary, like a high for me right before they call your name and it's time for you to go up. I mean, my heart is literally jumping and about to fall out of my chest every single time. My palms are, but it's something about it that's so exciting at the same time. And then when you're done, it's you come off of it. Yeah. So I would say
Yeah.
that's when I
The
feel like
moment's
that.
like a flame. And then
Yeah.
Once it like it
It's
goes
hard to
out, you're
explain.
like- yeah. It's hard to explain unless you've been up at the
Yeah.
And so, just in case anyone's just now tuning in, we're here, City Sound Sound Bites. Thank you to Eli, who's helping us get this off the ground. Everyone who comes here. We're here with Cho and the Coldest Wynter. And next question for you guys is, how do you guys define poetry?
Ooh. Man.
I would say poetry is the human experience. And there's so many different ways. Obviously, you know, we have so many different, really diverse group of poets here in Sac. And, you know, we hear life being experienced from different angles, perspectives, filters, tones. But I really think that that's what poetry is, and obviously poetry is an art form, and I feel like all art is, you know, a monument to what it is to be alive.
Okay, yeah, I needed a minute. I was like, man, that's such a loaded question.
Yeah.
Poetry for me is like the translation of our souls, you know, because if you ask any poet, sometimes they'll go back in there like, I didn't even write that. Where did that come from? That came from a deeper place, that's less physical and more spiritual. So I just feel like poetry is like that inner voice inside of you, and that's what makes it so captivating when you speak it in front of an audience of people, because these are your inner thoughts and feelings and suppressed memories and just everything coming out and being poured out. So yeah, it would be a translation of our souls. Yeah, for me.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, you guys both said some really great things. And just as a performer myself, it's you guys were probably, in my opinion, spot on.
Yeah.
And what initially drew you guys to want to write poetry?
You said what made us want to write poetry?
Yeah.
So for me, I was in fourth grade when I was first introduced to poetry by a teacher, and I felt that poetry was introduced to me as a way to it was kind of like a therapy as a kid, because I grew up in the foster care system. So it was something that gave me hope. It was a way for me to, even if my outside surroundings weren't good, I could take the imagination from my mind and put it on paper. And yeah, it was a therapy for me as a kid, a way for me to have a voice. Yeah.
I would say similar experience, although when I was introduced to poetry in fourth grade, I remember my first poem ever being written about a panda for a report. So, but poetry like re-entered my life, I would say, like just a few years ago, when I was processing through some grief. And it began as journaling, just like writing down my thoughts, because, you know, sometimes you're experiencing something that just really doesn't have, there's no words to describe what's going on. And I think through my writing, I was trying to find different ways to capture what I was feeling. And then looking at my writing, I was like, wow, like this is like very poetic. And so I started extracting that from my journal entries and started composing it specifically as poetry.
Okay, awesome. That's really cool. Kind of have a similar experience, but it's about you guys. Not gonna get too much about me. So would you say, like, based on what you guys told me, you know, just writing from journaling in fourth grade and how your experience is, would you say that's kind of the same role that inspires your writing, or is there like different themes you guys find come up for you guys?
I think like with poetry, as you get older, like it kind of it matures with you. So yeah, for sure, it's definitely pulled from different things. Because now I talk about so many topics that maybe 5 years ago I didn't even find important. I didn't care about just global issues, and so now my inspiration is shed by and inspired by not only just my story, but the stories of other people, different faces, races, and cultures, countries. Yeah.
So since I just started writing poetry, I feel like really within the last 6 months intentionally. I know that you and I had just had this conversation recently where I was like, how do I write? How do I, what's the best way that I can go about writing? And your advice has really stuck with me. And I tell everybody that all the time. I'm like, write what you know. And because, I'm preparing for my poetry feature at Sailor Soul next week, I have a set that I needed to prepare, and I'm just like, I want to like show such range, and I want to do something funny, do something sad, something like political. I don't know, but that just wasn't authentic to me, to like where I'm at as a poet right now, and those words of like write what you know, that has just echoed in my mind, because it's okay that in this season of my life I'm writing about the same stuff. Like clearly I'm still processing through things, and I need to let myself do that, so then I can evolve and make more art that is more diverse, like Wynter has.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just had to take that one. That was
Yeah.
you guys just beautiful responses. Would you say you guys use any literary techniques or devices in your works? Or any like even rhyme schemes, rhyme patterns?
That we use those.
Yeah.
I think people say that I do, but I just I guess for me originally, like I never aimed to try to use any certain type of literary techniques or something and things like that, because I remember being in high school and learning about other poets, and I was just like, that shit is dry. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I was like, I want to write whatever I want to write. I don't want somebody to tell me how to write. So I might be saying something in my poetry, or when I'm I'm in front of the mic, and people will recognize it as something. But for me, I'm just going to go off of whatever I feel. It's going to go off with the feeling that I'm in that moment. So I might be oblivious to it because I'm not even thinking about it like as much. But I will say this, being around other poets, you start to become more sharp and understand different ways of using your words and metaphors, and just yeah. So I would say I may not think about it too much, but also I should, because it will heighten your just and expand your talent as a writer, because the whole point for me is just to get better as I go, to become better at performing, or become better at being able to not have to use the same words often when we're writing our poetry, and finding different ways to connect the dots for people to get it.
So I try right now, like I said, like I'm in the season of writing where I'm exploring myself as a writer and a poet. So I try not to get so caught up on like literary forms and devices. So I can allow myself to be a little more free in what I need to say. But my brother-in-law, he was an English major at Davis, and he studied poetry, and he said it's good to know the rules so that you can break them in a way that, elevates your art form. And with Sac Poets Society that Mariah and I do, we challenge ourselves as like a group of poets and writers to explore different avenues of writing and different writing forms. So in that way, like, there's a good outlet that keeps me a little bit more, like, expands my horizon that way. But yeah.
And do you guys consider any like constructive criticism when after you perform a piece or you write a piece, or if so, how does that really play into your writing?
With taking constructive criticism,
Yeah,
from another writer.
Yeah, like from feedback or
anything. I'm okay with that. For me, sometimes, what is that Erykah Badu line? I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. That part right there. So it depends. Like, I have to like build that rapport with you or have seen you a lot for me to want to take criticism from someone. So I'm open to it, but I definitely want to make sure that person is giving me criticism that is really sound and good, and they want to see me do my best. And it's sometimes it's kind of hard as a writer or a poet to take that, because it can make you can walk away from that experience and never want to do it again.
Yeah.
Or you'll always kind of like freeze up in that moment where you felt that you messed up. So I'm open, but I just want to make sure that the person that's giving me this advice is not only just seasoned, but they really want to see me do better. So yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Especially like as emotional writers, I feel like I definitely fall into that category, and I haven't really evolved out of that yet. Definitely, I don't necessarily ask for feedback or constructive criticisms for things that are very personal, just because, I don't think that that's what I wrote it for.
Yeah.
And for Sac Poets, we do workshops for people's poems, and not that I made the mistake of doing that, but, I had written something that I just wanted to share, and I was like, oh, like, this is actually, like, it's kind of weird, like, hearing people, like, tell you how to word what you need to express. So now I bring in things that have my writing in it, but that I'm willing to let my peers, like, help me mold and help me evolve. And then also, like, I just submitted a poem to like a little poetry contest, and I was like, I'm not gonna write something new to this because I'm not gonna break my back over something like this. And I also threw in one that I wasn't really emotionally attached to, and I think that if you from where I'm at as an emotional writer, like, to get that feedback and constructive criticism, I think it's almost freeing to, like, not be emotionally attached to your work.
I agree with that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
You're like, how are you going to tell me how I feel?
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that, yeah. I think some pieces you can criticize someone on, but if it's a personal one, I don't think I would want to like criticize a poet on a personal one, because I just don't know how it's going to make them feel. But that's just me. So you're right, though. When you're not emotionally attached to it, you're like, okay. But if it's a personal experience,
yeah,
you might be like, well, you weren't there. It could be kind of triggering.
Yeah. Also, I'm very good at compliment sandwiches. So, just like you give a compliment, some criticism, and then end with a compliment.
Yep.
The best way to go through constructive criticism.
Compliment sandwich, I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that sandwich thing's beautiful. That's one of my English creative writing teachers. When we did workshops, that's what she told us. Give 2 goods and then 1 bad.
Yeah.
But with all that said, do you guys revise your poems at all?
I'm beginning to. Because, as an emotional writer, I'm, like, fervently, like, writing, like, all, like, I feel like sometimes I'm writing in my diary. I'm like, I'm just gonna, like, get this all out. And sometimes I'm lucky enough where it falls into place in the way that I naturally catch on to a rhythm. But as I've been wanting to grow as a poet, I know that I need to, like, stop and take a moment at my work, because as good as it may be as is, it can be better. And I need to be humble enough to let myself grow. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So for me, I definitely go back to revise some pieces. Sometimes that piece might sit there for months and then I'll go back. Or if I'm reciting it again and I realize I've matured kind of past that moment and maybe I want to go back and push my pen a little bit harder. You know, let's say if it was a piece from like last year, my pen is different than it was last year. So if I'm looking at that work, then I'm like, you know what? Let me go back to revise that. Or sometimes, I don't know if any poets do it, when you're up on that stage, you might revise it while you're in the middle of an open mic. And I've done that, and I'm like, yeah, you know, it's kind of hard to do, but yeah, I definitely go back to revise some of my work, but I'll let it sit for a while before I go to touch it again. Yeah.
I just wanted to make a comment about what Wynter said. There's something about like the adrenaline that hits when you know you're about to share it that, I don't know, gives you a boost of creativity, and you're like, no, like, I'm not satisfied with that. I'm going to push myself just a little bit further. Because, you know, writer's block is a real thing. And so when you're just like, it's not enough, like, what do I really want to say? Because I'm about to get 5 minutes to speak my truth. So like, how do I really want to present myself?
Right.
I know that I always do that. Even for my first open mic, I didn't have like my last 2 lines written, and I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to do it then. I'm not going to do it. But my friend has signed up, and I was like, if she does it, I'm going to do it. And luckily there was 1 spot left. And so I was like, okay, I sat while I was like the second to last to go up there. And so I had time to like just throw out that 1 line, and it ended it perfectly. I didn't have to overthink. I could just let my art speak for itself.
And I'm glad you brought up the point about writer's block. And when you guys get a writer's block, is there anything you guys like to do that try to get over that?
One thing that I do, is 2 things that I'll do. So for me, if I have writer's block, I'll allow that to be there, because sometimes as a writer, you may not have anything to say. You may not have anything to spark that creativity for yourself. So sometimes you might just want to write it out until you feel inspired to write another piece. Or for me, I'll just like, what do they call it? Like a mental dump. I'll just have my book or my note, and I'm just like putting everything out there. Even if it's a BS poem, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? It's still work that I can always go back to revise when I feel ready to go back to that piece. So sometimes I'll just get all the fluff ones out that it doesn't make any sense, or if I'm, you know, just even if it's just 1 line, I'm still gonna write it out and just leave it and let it sit. Because sometimes that 1 line, you could take a 1 line that you wrote a year ago, go back to it, and now you can make a whole poem off of that 1 line, you know? So,
that's my entire notes app.
Really?
I would say there's 3 different avenues that I've been working with to combat writer's block. One is taking walks, either with or without music, because I think if you just like get yourself in motion and you start kind of letting yourself absorb the scenery or like a piece of composition, inspiration can strike in a way that you aren't expecting. And then 2, I enjoy other art forms. So if I'm having writer's block, I'll sit down and sketch or paint. Okay. And then lastly, advice that my friend gave me, she said, write something funny, write something silly. And so I'm a big Doja Cat fan. So she was like, why don't you write some rap lyrics? So when I definitely have writer's block, I just go for the rhymes and go for the diss tracks and just enjoy the process.
Damn, that's a good way to get it
out.
Yeah.
And it's fun too. It'll let you lighten up.
Yeah, definitely. And we're actually kind of talking about it a little bit earlier when we're on the talk about taking feedback. But is there any poets who inspire you guys in the community?
Within Sacramento?
Yeah, within the Sacramento community. Or it could be either someone else that's on your mind.
So going to my earlier years, but because I'm from Philadelphia, but there was time that I spent in Atlanta, Georgia, and being in Atlanta, one day, one day I was just like, you know what? Stop being so scared. Just go push yourself out there and go to an open mic, and I did, and I went to a very historical place called Apache in Atlanta. And there's a very well-known poet by the name of Red Storm. And I saw all of the poets that night, and everybody was phenomenal. But it was just something about the way that he embodied his poetry. And I was like, you know what? I wanna get to that level, and to not just do it like him, but to be so engulfed in my poetry that it's not just spoken word. It's the fact that everybody can tell that I'm telling a story on this stage. And then I remember one night, just being a younger poet, and I'm shaking with my little paperwork in my hand, and I'm going up to the mic, and he's like, okay, sweetheart, so I want to tell you that your poetry is amazing, but at some point you want to connect with your audience. You're going to have to take that book down. So let's say it took me about five years after that conversation to be like, okay, I want to be able to trust myself with my words, which is not always easy. It's not. And yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to you because I'm thinking it's so many poets here in Sacramento. I'm just like, I was like, that's it. Yeah.
Well, let me go to my Instagram friends list. Well, I'll start with you, Al. You definitely are so inspiring. And you know that I always bring out my friends, poets, non-poets, out to CSSB and other places. And they always tell me, wow, Al is really, really good. And that's not to suck up to you because you're running a podcast. Corey Vance. I'm about to finish his book, Poems About Aliens. That is such a phenomenal piece of work. Our friend Diana, she amazes me so much, even before I ever got to introduce myself to her. Tamika Denise, I don't know if you're familiar with their work, but putting the poetry with the music that's so awesome, and I would love to even attempt to do that one day. And then just lastly, all the people that inspired Sac Poets Society, because I took that poetry workshop at Virch Center for the Arts, and there's something special about people coming together and taking a chance on poetry and allowing themselves to express themselves creatively, and seeing that light bulb moment when they're like, oh shit, I'm a poet, and having everyone else in the room affirm that. And we loved it so much, we created Sac Poets Society because of that. And all of those people, and they're probably my biggest inspiration, and that's why Mariah and I keep doing it. So
I had to really sit there and think because I definitely want to be intentional. Diamond, that's
Diamond's great. Diamond's great.
Yeah. I mean, talk about somebody that brings you into that emotion when she recites, and it's not even just the poetry, it's the way that she incorporates the singing with the poetry, going there and here, and every time I see her perform, I have to close my eyes because I want to be in that moment. I want to feel her words and what she's saying. So definitely Diamond for sure. Definitely.
If I could just go on a little Diamond tangent.
Okay.
Yeah, Diamond, definitely. There's so many that I'm totally forgetting to say at the top of my head, but I think a month or so ago, I was at Sac Poetry Center, and it was open mic, and we were ciphering. So no sign up list. It was kind of just jump in when the moment is hot for you. And there was a beat after somebody had finished their poem, and Diamond was standing in the back of the room, and she just opens her mouth and starts wailing on a note, and the room just goes silent, and it's just attention right on her. And her singing is so beautiful, and so she sings a line, it's gorgeous, then she starts performing her piece, and she is going from that corner of the room to the front, if you've ever been to Sac Poetry Center, of the room. And like, she does it so seamlessly that by the end of her piece, she's already like returned like full circle back into where she started. And that was just such a powerful moment. I was just so starstruck in that experience. So yes, Diamond.
yeah. It's so many poets, and everybody's so different. So even the poets that you named, I've heard them. I'm like, yeah. And the music over the poetry is amazing. I love to use instrumentals when I'm reciting poetry. That's something that became very new to me about like maybe 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
Also, to fan the flames of Diamond, she's starting PB&J at Sacramento Poetry Center, which is
I saw that.
Yeah, poetry.
Poetry,
jams.
books, and jams.
Yeah,
poetry and jams. I love that.
Yeah, so just in case anyone has come in the last couple minutes, we're here with Coldest Wynter and Chioetry turn of Chioetry and Sac Poets. Just trying to start wrapping up a little bit, but is there any like advice for any aspiring like open mic goers?
For anyone that's inspired to want to do an open mic.
Yeah.
I got advice for you. Put your name first on the list.
Yes.
I the other night, I mean, like, I did it one time, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna create the energy in that room tonight. Because I think that a lot of poets, we feel like, okay, going down the list might be a little bit more secure. It's our security blanket. No, put yourself first. Because that experience of putting your name on the list first at the very top is going to be completely different for you. It's going to feel like you're going through all these stages of anxiety and stuff, but then after that, and in the words of Corey, go first, and then you enjoy the show, the rest of the show. Yeah, he said that to me one night. And I was like, dang, you're right. So I think after that, that one day I was like, you know what, I'm going to put my name first on the list. Also, I would say that for any people that are wanting to do an open mic for the very first time, just trust yourself and know that on the opposite side of fear is everything that you want. So you're going to open yourself up to different avenues and things after that night. You're not going to forget it. Yeah.
Definitely about you don't have to worry about the anxiety waiting to go up, especially if it's your first one. Because then you psych yourself out listening to like all the amazing performers that go up, and you're like, whoa, I'm like, why is it going to be my turn? I'm going to leave. I would say, 1, invite your friends for support. Definitely trust yourself, trust your work. Know that it's not going to be your only open mic, so don't put so much pressure on it. And I know a great open mic place here at City Soundbite on Tuesdays. And I had some of my friends from Sac Poets come for the first time. And, you know, I was like nudging them, like, oh, are you gonna go up and share? And obviously everybody's always like, no, I don't want to. But the environment on Tuesday nights is so welcoming, and I think it being a hot mic as well, without like, there's no pressure to put your name on a list and wait until like it's your turn to go up. It's really welcoming. I think we're a really great group of people to welcome a new open micer, so definitely come here and try it out.
And do you guys feel like up to sharing one of your poems?
Yes.
Of course.
You want to go first?
Oh, man.
I can go first. Rochambeau.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Okay.
No, I'm not doing it.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Damn.
This is how poets decide things. So that means you go, or like I win?
No, I go.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
How long can our poems be?
As long as you want.
As long as I want. Okay, I'll sing one that sing. I don't sing. I'll recite one that is very near and dear to my heart. And it's a new piece of work for myself. And this poem is called Raindrops in the Ocean. Natural disasters, tsunamis, hurricanes and levees broken under government watch. Yeah, we ain't forget, baby. But baby, listen, this part is crazy. Literally and figuratively, Black people in New Orleans were raindrops in the ocean while helicopters were flying by in the sky, headed to desirable communities. It almost sounds like 2017 Puerto Rico. How similar are these stories? Raindrops in the ocean, this violence is potent. That line just hit me. Raindrops in the ocean, this violence is potent. See, I remember in 2020 when George Floyd's flesh melted into the pavement. And there on the opposite side of the world, you can hear the Palestinian children with feet on road, holding signs with his face up. See, solidarity is scary, but how similar are these stories? How similar are these stories? Are we in one big ocean but raindrops? Raindrops in the ocean, this violence is potent. But see, PTSD come with war tactics and trauma. Maybe it's the years of gaslighting, but will the world snap? Will the world snap so all the raindrops come together to drown the wicked? See, what will it take for us to realize that we complete these lost stories? See, once upon a time, the oceans were connected. And now they divide to keep us separate. And so somehow we decided to come together on internet waves. So all the raindrops learn where to pour into. It's just the ones that manipulate the weather feel that we are interrupting their current. That is what the news is buzzing. And I prepare for the storm is coming. But currently, I feel nothing. But let us sing. I was born in the river by a little tent. Oh, and just like the river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming. But I know that a change is going to come. And just like the river, I ran from purpose, forgetting to fill my cup until my cup runneth over to the river. But see, I look beyond those limits even when they limit us. And I can't fathom what our ancestors went through so much. And that's why I can't complain. But the rain falling is my window pane. But say his name, George Floyd. Say her name, Breonna Taylor. And say this statement, Free Congo, the exploitation of children, the molestation of innocent faces, but minerals matter too, right, America? Free Congo. Free Palestine. I swear those Palestinian children have more hearts than some adults around me. I swear that they all, I don't know if I can curse.
Say go for it.
You can, you're fine.
Okay.
I haven't said that not for children.
Okay. I swear those Palestinian children have more hearts than some adults around me. I swear that they all pussy, but Sam Cooke said that a change is going to come. And Nina said that birds fly high, but I don't feel good. What are they putting in our water? Can someone ask Flint this question? The food is genetic slaughter. They're writing our destiny, but who the fuck is this author? But let us rock the boat of their illusions. Raindrops in the ocean. This violence is potent. But see, one drop can dry, but a million drops can drown. Raindrops in the ocean.
Coldest Wynter. Oh my gosh.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Wynter.
Thank you.
I'm changed. That was amazing.
Thank you.
See, this is why you signed up first, so you don't have to follow that. Holy Holy moly, that was really, really good.
I used to do it over instrumental, but you know what? I think I like it a cappella too now. Yeah.
I like the silence with it.
Yeah.
And then I like that you were able to pause and repeat that line.
Yeah.
Because when you said, like, ooh, you felt that line, like, I felt it too. Like,
Yeah.
it was energy in the room.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you have, like, accompaniment to it, it just, like, you know, like, makes you, like, move forward. But sometimes, like, especially with such a potent piece,
Right.
like, let it sit and breathe and let us sit in it with you.
I think, and you're right about that, absolutely. I think what made me really feel that was earlier this week, I was at UC Davis. I was there for the guardianship scholarship, which is for foster care, people that were in foster care or foster care youth going into their semester at UC Davis. Mm-hmm. But on my way leaving UC Davis, there is a protest that is literally going on right now for Palestine, where all the students are camping out in the middle of the campus at UC Davis. And I guess just seeing that last week and then going back to this poem, it was just like, man, it's pretty heavy. So yeah, I definitely wanted to connect the dots on that so people can understand that the problems that we see in the world aren't individual problems.
Yeah.
They're all somehow connected and collective problems that we are responsible for taking on. And that person doesn't have to reflect you in order for you to want to be a part of helping humanity. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that anecdote too. That
Thank
like
you.
gives like a really nice background. It does this whole circle moment.
Yeah, 360. Yeah, thank you.
It's my turn.
Okay, I'm
Ready.
excited.
Okay, whoa. Sign up first, guys. Sign up first. So I actually wrote this earlier today.
Oh, new shit.
New shit. Yeah, I wanted to bring some new shit on. Because I have been experiencing some writer's block and getting really into my head. So I wanted to challenge myself to see if I could write something for today. And my poem starts with a quote that I heard from an artist that I follow. But I'm pretty sure it's a quote from The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. This is How Truth Set Us Free.
Mm.
Whether or not my art is good or bad is none of my business. My only business as a person is to create and let the creativity out. In the early days, truth floated in a void. She fell in love with the only star in the universe, and their love affair burned so bright and went up in flames, leaving her in the dark. Truth was left to lament, holding heavy oceans of endless emotion in her lonesome. It's just you and me now, she whispered to the weight left by her entire world that had come and gone. I can no longer bear how this emptiness insists on echoing to the edge of infinity. So she reached inside her body with cupped hands to begin unburdening herself. Sharpened shards of truth were released into the universe, each piece pin-needling holes into the blackness, birthing storytelling stars in the shape of lovers and their revolutions. Light shone through each tiny eye she pinpricked open. Soon, man could see truth. And from light years away, they would gather to gaze up at the constellations overhead, exchanging interpretations of each illustration until the sky earned a reputation of wonder. Man came every night, wanting and waiting for something to amaze them. But there was no truth left untold. Anything else would be a lie. Stories stunted in her throat. I have no new tales, dear man. For how many times can stars be rearranged into something worth remembering? Truth ascended to earth to explain this to man. However, she stopped when she saw how the stars emboldened the evening primrose to open up to the moon. The influence of truth cascaded into the earth. From the sky to the sea, stories bloomed, sprung, erupted, and collapsed, all to the movement of its own musing, untouched and unbothered by man. Touched by these acts of nature, truth remained unmoved by man and continued to tell her stories in perpetuity. Poem.
Thank you, Chill.
Thank you.
Man.
Before I get you guys out of here, just 2 more questions. A little short first one. Where can people find you? And you guys got any events? I know you said you got that feature next week.
So I am starting to really pour myself more on Instagram and work on just interacting more on Instagram. I'm usually on TikTok. But if you would like to reach out to me for just anything, booking, conversations, whatever it is, my IG handle is Wynter with a Y _ 388888. So that's WYNTER _888.
If you would like to join me on my poetry journey, I was doing cool stuff with Sac Poets and just out in the community. My Instagram handle is at Chioetry, which is spelled CHIOETRY. And just a little side note, Chioetry was what I used to call my poetry when I was in 4th grade.
Oh,
and
wow.
so I'm like, okay, Cho's writing Chioetry. Now that I'm out in the community, I'm like, okay, it's a little childish, but we're going to go with the nostalgia.
No, I like it. I'm looking for the event that I will. Honestly, I will have it posted. There's Corey. I'll have it posted, but I have 2 events, May 25th, and then I'll also be performing at the Elk Grove Pride this year, which is super exciting for me to do. Never thought that I would make it to performing at Pride, but
Amazing.
yeah, I'm excited to do that.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of that. It was another question that you asked. Oh no. I wrapped it up.
So I do have that event next Friday on the 24th at C'est Le Soul. It is sold out already, but definitely follow. It's a woman-centered performance, and it happens monthly. And the lineup last month was insane. Mm-hmm. And this lineup, I'm so honored to be on it. And the next month is going to be incredible too. So definitely follow that. And then other than that, just the open mics that they have in the community.
I look forward to hearing you, because what I just heard from you today, I was like, man, you really go deep past the human consciousness when you recite. Some people they can do that, but I don't know, with writing, sometimes I feel that with some writers, myself included, to push past those limits of consciousness is a little bit hard, because you don't know how people are going to take it or perceive it. So yeah, I'm just thankful for just hearing that piece. Yeah, that was
Thank
really
you so
good.
much. Your piece changed me. So the fact that
Thank
you
Thank you.
have anything nice to say about mine, I'm so honored. Thank you so
No
much.
problem. And thank you for definitely having me. I was shocked.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I've known you for years, and I know
Yeah.
we just met, but you guys are 2 poets that really inspire my work and keep me pushing, and are a big part of like why I want to do things like this in the community and get more people together and all that.
I love that.
Thank you so much, Al. Like I said, you're one of my poetic heroes. So just keep doing you. Love that. Thank you.
That next question was going to be, if you have any wish, no strings attached, right now, what would it be?
Staring at you. Oh man.
I came with the loaded questions.
I like lots of money. I'm just kidding.
Hey, we live in Sacramento. It's real.
Yeah, for real.
Man, one wish with nothing attached. I would say for myself, it might be the more freedom to travel. Yeah, because I like learning about different people and cultures. Yeah, definitely travel. That's like at top on my list.
That's a really good one. I'm glad you went first. I would say to somehow one wish, no strings attached. I think that, I mean, there's so many great spaces in Sacramento for artists. I would honestly love to have one of my own places. Just that way I could have just all the creative freedom to fill in the gaps or to be innovative with what we offer to this and give back to this community.
Beautifully said. And I actually got a little bit time. I'm not sure if you guys mind sharing another short poem.
I was going to ask you that too. That's why I picked up my phone.
I'll go first.
Oh, she said I'll go first. Okay. No rock, paper, scissors shoot this time.
No.
Show was ready now.
Like, that was too good. I was like, okay. This one is one of my favorites. It's titled Iridescent Undertones Between Friends. He's so cool. The moonlight paints him a gorgeous shade of midnight, illuminating his irises like diamonds in the darkness. When he spoke, music notes danced around me like live jazz. Soulful purple-blue hues, leaving me clues. Maybe he's more than just a friend. 'Cause he said I was sweet like tangerines, that the sun kisses the yellow sleeping in my skin, and to know me was standing atop rolling green hills, taking the view in. It made me blush like warm summer. Maybe I'm more than just a friend.
I love that. I had to see that for a minute.
Thank you.
Yeah, I remember when you posted it on your Instagram. It was
Thank you so much, Al.
great poem.
I'm having one of those moments where I'm like, do I want to read this? This is a very much new piece.
You do.
And, I kind of want to plug something I forgot when asked about future events. Yes, I will be at Silver Lining on the night that Mr. Tycoon Hitman is going to be hosting. I believe it's August.
August or September?
August or September, yeah. I definitely, I didn't want to forget that.
Follow
It popped up in
winter.
my mind.
Follow winter
Yeah.
thing, so either August or September.
Man, one day I got to get an assistant because I'm like, man, these dates. Oh, okay. Oh, man. Definitely having one of those moments. See, I'm very diverse in the poetry that I write, but for some reason in this current moment, I want to talk about what's going on in the world from the perspective of it not being pushed through propaganda or media, the media that we've grown accustomed to. So this poem is called Red Fragility. Ooh.
You got this.
I'm ready.
Man.
I'm ready to be changed.
For this one, I'm
again.
like, this is a little bit darker for me. Okay. The blood is on everyone's hands. That's red fragility. But what does that mean? It means that you're brittle in spirit, but show stability in presence. But you're easy to break, easy to bend, easy to move to new group. Fragility. Fragility sounds like the flesh of many men and women. Not dependable, unable to display accountability, lasting temporarily, self-destructible, but ignorant to its own doing. America. We have blood on our hands and wrap the wounds in fragility. There, the vibration of humility just doesn't exist. These words created in the English language, we speak these words broken, fluent in Ebonics. Thank you for the birth of such a universal language. How else could I get these hood tales out of my head? But it came from our ancestors' hocus pocus. But be careful because words cause curses. But that was the purpose. And then I broke the code. And now they're nervous. And the core systems are the internal bleeding of a circus. Red fragility is the word. It sprinkled truth in words attached to different DNA. But I am the reflection of God. Therefore, I see through the holes of your stories that you had glory while others sat in red gory. Red fragility. Red fragility on a swollen knee to take a plea of what we think the word justification means. These words of English due to your definition is red fragility. This morning I woke up and there was blood on my hands. And I looked in the mirror of my bathroom and I washed them, but no blood went down the drain. Feeling like a menace in my brain, I woke my son up and his hands were clean. And his eyes could see the fear reflected from his eyes on my face. And I ran outside to see if anyone can see the red fingerprints on every door, house, and tree. I felt like I was in a lost city populated with the disease of hate. It was confirmed, but nobody else could see it. I saw demons on the money printed, but everyone was just making transaction while the massacre happens. They were falling into a trance, autopilot, but carrying out these actions, fake freedom. So then I ran to nature. And the trees were crying with nooses hanging from them that put me in a twilight zone, in fear of peace. And this whirlwind of some man's fragility that now I know that no one can see, but the children, their slate was clean. Last night, I don't know what I dreamed, but the blood were on the hands of me, the cashier, the bus driver, and some of the most anointed were covered and drenched in it. It was as if the house that they left was a house of slaughter. And I drove around all day contemplating if I was crazy, not because the trees talked to me, not because Mother Nature said that, Wynter, I'm dying. It's because everyone around me was blinded. Red fragility.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was awesome.
You said that one was new?
Yeah.
Really great stuff. Thank you, Wynter.
Yeah. That was, I think, probably one of the most heaviest ones I feel.
It's heavy, but it's important.
Yeah.
That's why it carries so much weight.
Yeah.
Okay, that's our show, everyone. Thank you again to Cho.
I'm sorry, Al.
Wynter. No, you guys are good. That was perfect. That was a perfect
Mic drop.
Yeah, exactly. Mic drop. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
And thank you all to everyone viewing out there. GT4, we love you. And remember, next podcast, we already got it booked out. We're going to have Oswaldo Vargas and Diana Rose.
Hey.
And then we got the barbecue. But remember, gordos, tacos, frijoles, Orden.
Hey. I got to be there for the free.